Sometimes when a shonen comes along, it appears like all the others. A story with a goal that's just going to drag out until it makes as much money as it possibly can. But the story isn't always the lifeblood of these shows. The lifeblood of a shonen is the characters. And nothing is more true when it comes to My Hero Academia. We have a ton of great characters. We've got Uraraka, Todoroki, Leader, Endeavor, All Might. All these characters have great emotional experiences where their character arc kind of carries the moment of the show. Emotions both add weight to the fights, also enhance the slower moments outside the fighting. But nobody in this entire show can compare to Katsuki Bakugo. I'm confident enough to say this is the best character arc in My Hero Academia, but this is also one of my favorite character arcs in Shonen, and I'm a Hunter x Hunter boy. Now when I said this to my friend, he said, going from a bully to a friend isn't a crazy character arc, bro. After my sheer shock, disgust, and verbal fist throwing, I thought about it, and I decided he's a moron. I decided to bring it in the video anyway, because some of you might feel the same. There are some people that have that view, but they just haven't focused on Bakugo enough. And I think Bakugo is introduced as a hothead. He's simple-minded, angry, ego-driven, he's very closed off. He can't really verbalize emotions very well, so he just starts off as a very difficult pill to swallow. I'd almost compare him to Tsukishima in Haikyuu. Not a bad character, in fact one of the best characters, but he's kind of chronically misrepresented by his own limitations. Like if you take Bakugo and you put him outside of a building and you say infiltrate and clear this building, Season 1 Bakugo is going to blast the door off the hinges and run the most direct route straight to the objective, through everyone, and just hoping he can take them all one for one. By the end of the show, it'd be very, very different. Maybe he would put some of his sweat on the door hinges, look for another way in, and explode the door as he goes in another way. It's kind of actually difficult to say what he would do because he becomes so good strategically by the end. And even if it did rely on power, it wouldn't even be a problem. Bakugo is tough. Anyone who watched this show can acknowledge that Bakugo got stronger. But that is not the strength and the growth of Bakugo. With Bakugo, it's completely mental. Take the fight between him and Deku in episode 7 of the first season. Bakugo's anger is exploding, it's overwhelming. And it's just at the fact that Deku is in the same place as him. He was always so confident that he was gonna leave middle school, go to UA, and leave Deku and the others behind. But now he's facing him in a UA training challenge. And his fear of being surpassed just takes over. And he may have an ego, but it's just driven by the fear of being beaten. So in this episode, Bakugo's the weaker of the two. And All Might praises Deku, which at the time we don't really think much of. It kind of makes sense. We later find out that All Might is Bakugo's hero too. So this incident kind of stirs the pot inside Bakugo's head a lot. So in the beginning, Bakugo is a character who is weak, scared, and angry, but with a very strong quirk. In Season 2, we get a little more how his ego carries him, because when he beats Todoroki in the final of the tournament, he is more angry that Todoroki didn't use his full unlimited power. Todoroki didn't go all out, so his victory has just become hollow, and most characters would let that go, but Bakugo just can't. Todoroki is seen as his rival in Class 1A. Bakugo needed to beat Todoroki to prove he's at the top, and since Todoroki held back, now he can't prove that. His fear of being surpassed takes over again. Now Season 3 is one of the biggest early parts for Bakugo's arc. He's kidnapped by a naive Shigaraki and the subject of a recruitment request that doesn't go down very well. They see his anger and his rage as a vulnerability, as a way to drag him in. This is when we learn something very important about Bakugo. Bakugo may be angry, vulnerable, defensive, but Bakugo is morally good. Cracks begin to show. He's still angry, but he's angry that they would even think he would join them. And when he does escape via his classmates, I want you to note that in this episode, Kirishima is the one to hold out his hand, because Deku states that Bakugo would never take my hand. It's not important now, but remember that. Also, I just want to add, when he kind of blasts from Shigaraki in that, and he's like horizontal, and then he just, and then, fucking peak, bro. That dap healed pieces of me. That really hurt my hands. In Season 3, we also get Bakugo's breakdown. He falsely starts to think that he is the reason that All Might started to lose his powers, because the fight that everyone starts to see this only happened because Bakugo got kidnapped. And this opens up a world of guilt for Bakugo. His walls come completely crashing down, and he just shows raw vulnerability in front of both Deku and All Might. In this moment, he does acknowledge Deku's strength, but he also acknowledges his own confusion and his own weakness and frustration from it. We find out that All Might really is Bakugo's hero too, and a lot of his frustration comes from not understanding why Deku was a better choice than himself. And this is where All Might comforts them both, saying that both of them together are the best chance of the new symbol of peace. And I want to throw a statement that's been floating around on Instagram a lot right now. Deku is the successor of One for All, and Bakugo is the successor of All Might. This moment is where that statement begins. In season 4 to 5, not really a lot happens. We do get more of a shift to Bakugo. It's not the deepest seasons for him, but we get to see what he's doing a lot more. These are the seasons where he joins Best Jeanist at his organization. I think he learns a lot more than he wants to, because he hates it. But he also learns that image and how you're viewed as a hero really will make a difference in his career. And the more important part for his arc, I think, is later in the season when he catches Endeavor trying to heal things with Todoroki. I think that opens his eyes a little bit, because he's seeing a man who was swallowed by ego and made it to the top is now paying for the consequences of following just his ego. And someone like Bakugo, who has been using his ego a lot, combined with his new sort of self-awareness, I think that led to some quite powerful thoughts for him. In season 6, we get one of the biggest moments of growth from Bakugo. When he throws himself in front of Deku to take that hit that could have killed him, not only is that a complete contrast of season 1, but I think it was the moment that shifted Bakugo into a traditional hero. He didn't just dive in front to protect Deku. He was protecting Deku, but he was also protecting the successor of One for All. And he was protecting everyone that the successor of One for All would then save afterwards. He knows Deku's job and knows how important it is for the people of the future. In an instant, he dove to protect that. So he made the hero's decision as a reflex. And then in the hospital afterwards, when Bakugo apologizes to Deku, it just brings 6 seasons of separation to come crashing down. And it does feel a little bit awkward, but I think it makes sense for these characters because it feels way more genuine and raw that way. And Bakugo really does prove he means it, because when Class 1A go to get Deku back, when he goes into his vigilante arc, Bakugo kind of leading the confrontation is very intentional. I think Bakugo knows that he's probably the best chance at talking Deku back down. And this brings us to the present. The final season. My God, is this good. When Bakugo is fighting Shigaraki, we see his growth as a hero. Not only is he fighting all out, he's fighting all out with complete consideration for the people around him, environment around him, and the safety of those around him. He is launching attacks, but working out the trajectory so he doesn't damage anything, so he doesn't hit anything. He is completely intentional with every move he makes. When he's fighting the most powerful villain in the show to date, which he's only fighting because Deku got separated because the plan went wrong. He's stalling. He's not just a reckless hothead anymore, he's calculated. And even when it came to the brink of death, he's been pierced, his arm is shattered, barely standing, bleeding. His mentor Genus is running to try and get him out. Bakugo is muttering a pattern, a strategy, a plan. And in that moment near death, he found something. And in an instant, faster than anyone's ever seen him move, he goes again at Shigaraki, becomes the first character to land a hit on him in this fight. And then Bakugo proves something that we didn't want him to prove, that he is one of the few characters that will genuinely die to protect everyone when he does. And this show did something fucking cruel. It stopped checking on Bakugo. We knew they were trying to resuscitate him. It distracted us with All Might versus All for One until the best moment of the show. An explosion, a revival. Bakugo stands with a hole in his chest, blood in his lungs. One glance to analyze the situation. One split second of eye contact to Deku, and he jumps back in. I want you to think about it for a second. How many times have you had a nap, like a deep nap, where you've woken up and it takes you like 20 minutes to figure out what day it is, what time zone you're in, how long it's been, the fact that you're 25 and you don't have school in 10 minutes? You have a complete factory reset. And this 15-year-old kid took less than a second, jump into action. One glance, one look, and he takes Deku's hand. No verbal communication, just trust. And just like that, Bakugo saves All Might, saves his hero. And he gets his moment. He gets All Might's acknowledgement. To All Might's surprise, I think All Might always knew Midoriya was a huge part of the next generation, but I think he really underestimated Bakugo. And finally, Bakugo has done everything he said he could do. In a moment of no hope, and the symbol of peace is about to be split in half, Bakugo comes back to life, saves the symbol of peace. Bakugo becomes a symbol of hope. And then he fucking manhandles the villain of the whole show while he's held together with Bio Thread. Destructive power of Sukuna, awakening of Gojo, on the edge of death like Naruto while he's laughing like Luffy, crashing through buildings, adapting to his power, laughing through searing pain that is causing the power boost. Bakugo is complete. Great explosion, murder god, dynamite defeats All for One. Same character that made Bakugo freeze earlier on in the series is running for his life as Bakugo screams, "I am your final boss." And the peak of the whole moment is when he screams, "Touchdown, Bakugo!" He has accepted Deku. He's accepted every part of himself. So My Hero Academia isn't about Deku. It's about Deku and Bakugo. It's always been about both of them. Bakugo went from a scared, angry kid to the hero that took 9 generations of One for All to even get to this point. And he lies flat with his fist in the air, and it's over to Deku. Bakugo's arc is complete. My favorite character has been done justice.